Hey Norcal Carters, this is Jason and I'm standing here with Jason LaPointe.
How's it going?
How are you doing, Jason?
Good, good. A little tired from this weekend.
Yeah, so what Jason's talking about is this is the Sunday, the 2021 TrackMagic Super Rally, Pat's Acres, and you just threw on a great show. I mean, it's, I've said it a number of times in a couple of other videos. I'm trying to wrap my head around everything you guys have done. I've already done a walkthrough with the big circus tent that you called it on Friday. You had, 20 plus carts on display for TrackMagic stuff, and it really was an incredible rally. It really was. Kudos to you and your crew for putting this on. We had Bob Eriks on, with his cart, and and it's, for those of you, why I'm kind of at a loss for words. Our industry doesn't have anything like this going on, where outside of the race team, there's a group of people behind it that are throwing these get-togethers and rallies as a social event. And it's kind of hard to put into words what really went on this weekend. And the dynamic you had Gary Carlton here.
Yep.
You had the Squadra TrackMagic.
Yep. New drivers. Yep.
Yep. You had the new drivers. I actually did a podcast with Kyle earlier this morning.
Kyle Wick, our newest driver.
Yeah. So Kyle Wick is the newest Squadra TrackMagic driver in the shifter class. Yeah. So he'll be competing alongside a Cold Shade and Oliver Askew at certain events.
Yep. Askew's definitely planning on Vegas again to try to, retain his title.
Absolutely. And so you guys can go to Norcal Carters, you can go to TrackMagic's owners group, Facebook. I posted all those videos on a number of different social media outlets. But today we're really going to talk about your new pet project.
Yeah, pet project.
So what do you call this thing? It's a shifter. It's a four-stroke.
It's a four-stroke. It's a pit bike motor, Japanese-built Daytona. Pit bike engine. It's I've been playing with these for years, and three-wheelers and pit bikes, and then I never thought they'd work on a go-kart because they only had 4-speed, and they were usually a 2-valve motor, and they're all derivative of what the Honda 50 started at in the 60s. But then this is more like this now is 190 cc's, and they're 5-speed, and then they did a 4-valve roller rocker head. And so it spins over 12 grand. It makes 25 horsepower stock, 17 foot-pounds of torque. So you're basically similar torque as a CR125 and similar horsepower as an 80. And you end up with a lap time that's on different tracks. It's usually same speed or a little faster than an 80, depending. You could probably run a 6-year tire and have it even faster. But bone stock, that's what they come. And then they make lots of options for this thing that are really cheap and reasonable. But this package you can buy for $1,400. And it comes with a carburetor. And it comes with this little 28 millimeter. They have a factory PWK 33 offered from Daytona, which you could buy it, but it comes with a needle that works and an intake, which I own, I haven't tried. This is a 190cc motor. They have a factory 212 big bore kit, bolts on, $299. And they have a cam, a top-end cam, which I think this needs right now because it has more torque than you can use on a sprint track, and you just can go down to nothing. It's almost like a CR125 with power valves. We all took those out because you could use it. Same thing with this. So I'm going to put that in. Supposed to get another 500 or 600 RPM shift in the power band. And not have it just taper off so much on the backside of the curve. The engine guys will get that. Yeah. But anyways, $80 for a cam. Anybody can build this in their garage. You can order parts on Amazon, and you can order from people around the world these bikes. I bought this one from Pitzer Pro, and these guys have been really cool. They're getting a big container in of them. And they offer like 3 different motors. This one's electric start, so you just push button, starts right up. It idles, unlike other things. It's got great throttle response, and it's got a charging unit, so it charges your battery. But this is like a recreational unit. Is what I wanted. I wanted it to be kind of like a KTM. These guys come out here at Pat's Acres and they run a motocross track. They come out, they hit a button, they run all day, they have a great time. They don't work on it. They don't have to tune it. This has a non-adjustable needle, non-adjustable float bowl. You can't even tell where the pilot is. It's kind of hard to get to, and I tried changing it up and down, it went slower. Straight out of the box it runs. It's not near as critical as a two-stroke, and it's just way less work.
So this is the Daytona 190cc four-stroke.
Yep.
And you said as it sits, 25 horsepower.
Yep.
25 horsepower, 5-speed.
Yep.
And so the pipe here, is this an aftermarket pipe?
This is the factory pipe for the people who, this motor comes OEM stock in an Italian Odenthal mini super bikes, which they run around the world, and in the Sunday flat track bikes. And so this is the pipe they use in the flat track bikes. And then, you know, it's like, this pipe is actually, you can buy pipes for this thing for 60 bucks, or you can buy this one for 300, and there's no difference. They're the same size, and I can't tell why this one was more money. But it has this little thing here, it looks like a reverse megaphone. It's kind of cool looking, but it's really just a straight pipe inside, so.
Oh, all right, so that's just cosmetic.
Looks cool, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
You look through here and you're like, well, I paid for nothing.
So what are we looking at right now? We're looking at, so again, we're looking at 190cc four-cycle.
Yep.
The weight, let's assume I have a rolling chassis.
Yep.
Let's assume I have the radiator.
Yep.
So what are we looking for price-wise to put one on a cart? Oil cooler. Yeah, you said you bought that one actually on Amazon, correct?
Yep, Amazon. You can pick them up 35 to 75 bucks depending on what size. This is overkill. This motor actually only runs about 190 degrees with this, and they can run up to 270. I mean, it's like, I kind of like to run them around 215 or so. But I bought this off of a cadet cart just to power the starter, and it charges it, so you don't really have to worry about it. You can just plug switches into the harness, and it comes with a complete harness with a starter relay, ignition, everything. Real easy. I could fire it up for you guys right now. It's so easy to make this thing work, you know.
So what are cost-wise, the way it sits on the cart? We'll add the oil cooler to it.
Once the production motor mount's done, this whole package with everything you see should be under 2,000 bucks.
Under 2,000 to bolt to a cart.
1,400 bucks for this, and you're looking at all the little things, including fuel pump and air filter, and you know, just the miscellaneous. And then the motor mount's going to be a couple $100, I'd assume.
Yep.
So you got to be somewhere, you know, just under $2,000.
Okay.
And it's going to be less than half of anything else. I put together two 206s before this. I spent the same amount of money.
See, and we were talking about this earlier, that you think, based on the CCs, your top speed here at Pat's Acres, we were right around 65 miles an hour top speed. To even bring the cost lower for the entry-level guy or the club guy.
Yeah.
Get rid of the front brakes.
You don't need them. I'm not running them at all. They're dialed out, and you don't need them. But you know, some guys feel like they want them because of safety issues or whatever. But yeah, it's not needed. I'd love to try it on. Just take them off and lighten this thing up. This motor weighs without the starter 42 pounds, same weight as CR125. The only thing that you're getting more weight with on this motor, since it doesn't have water in it, you're eliminated the big radiator. But the CG is pretty low. This is horizontal. So once this motor mount production one will be lower, you should have a similar CG as a CR125.
Okay.
And, so
what Jason is referring to, this is really a prototype package on the TrackMagic. So they have a lot of cleanup work to do when it comes to the final mounts and the setup on these. But again, this is a prototype. And it's actually pretty exciting.
Yeah, the gear, you know, it goes between the bearings, and it fits really good. And this transmission, you know, is pretty. It's just more like a Japanese motor than an Italian motor. I mean, it's pretty easy to maintain. Everything, oil filters right here. Quick cover for the clutch. So
now let's talk about the clutch. So you have a different clutch in there. Can we talk about that?
So it comes stock with this, a regular style clutch. This one here, you replace all the big springs, and it's got one big conical washer on it, and it's an Stm Slipper Clutch.
Stm Slipper Clutch.
Stm.
Okay.
Stm makes it for those mini super bikes. So if you ever road race, people use recluse and slipper clutches so they don't get wheel lock. And when you're dealing with a 4-stroke, you get a lot of compression on the downshifts. So this thing simply makes it feel just like a 2-stroke under a downshift versus, you know, too much compression.
Okay.
So, and then, you know, I went a little fancier with all the fittings and stuff, but you could have just a barb and cheap, you know, kits for your oil lines. I ran my water line. I have a 1 temp Micron 5. I ran the water line into a little billet piece that basically is, so the water is actually the oil temp.
Got it. Okay.
So it's real simple. And we got our shift linkage. So the shifter has to go down. So we're experimenting. We're going to build one with a bearing, but right now it rotates on the cam. So your shifting is normal, and you get the pitman arm down, and nothing rubs the seat, and so it works out really well. But that's a little bit, it's been an experiment, but so far so good. We got about 300 laps with that, people banging it, so.
Yeah, and you know, you allowed me to drive it for a few laps today, and I'm not a 4-stroke guy. I'm not a good shifter driver anymore, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole experience. Howie Idelson took it out. He's still smiling. You can't wipe that grin off of his face.
Yeah.
And he really enjoyed it, and I asked him, I was like, well, you really look like you enjoy driving it. And I go, how did you adapt so quick? And apparently he actually had a CR250F 4-stroke that he built years ago, and he had a lot of seat time in it. So he understood you got to lug the engine. Well, when I say lug the engine, you're driving in at a different power band.
Yeah.
I'm a 2-stroke guy, so I'm trying to keep it on the pipe. Well, there's no pipe.
You shift half as much, and you just got to get it. You don't have to downshift for a corner. You just roll right through like the 100cc and roll on the gas, and it'll torque. And you just can't get that in your brain when you first get in, because coming from, you know, a 2-stroke shifter where you always want to be on the pipe, you're used to taking it to the top. It doesn't like it. It just wants to, you know, rip right off the bottom, and it gets to be real smooth once you start eliminating your shifts. But you literally are shifting about half as much.
So I thought you were cheering me on the fence, like, yeah, go get it. And it's like, no, you were telling me to shift.
Yeah, shift again.
You shift it.
Yeah, I was hoping you get the 5th.
Yeah.
It's only 5 and you're in 4th.
Yeah.
So
I was whining him out.
You weren't the only one. You weren't the only one. We had to bring in a few guys and tell them how to do it. But even that, like, you went out there and screamed this thing at the very top and did it. You know,
there's no oil on the track.
It's local. This runs on pump gas. You don't have to run race gas. So, I mean, this is affordable. This is a 206 shifter, basically.
So what is your target market? Are you going after that national level guy that is racing?
Built it for myself. So
okay.
I don't know. I mean, I think the market is just guys that want to have a really fun package to recreate with. And then I think just like the shifter moto stuff did, the more people start recreating with something, then the racing happens. If I try to dictate from the start what I think people should race with, I think I'll run into problems like everybody has trying to invent some motor package that maybe people don't want to run.
Yeah.
If people like this and they buy it, they're going to go dictate what works. So maybe they want that top-end cam. Maybe somebody says, oh, this car's stuck. But they're going to figure it out the more people that, you know, use them. So right now, I think it's...
So you're targeting that recreational guy that wants a shifter, wants to get in at a great price point.
We have recreational events, and we have a recreational package. You want to get it out of your garage, you know, once every 6 months and go to the track. You want to cruise around with your kids slow. It doesn't load up. It doesn't do stupid things. It works great. You just have a recreational go-kart package, no different than when you're going and you're buying a motorcycle at a dealership. You didn't buy something to run Supercross. You're not going to run Supercross because you're not that good. And you want something that you push a button, it starts up, you go play. You don't have to do a ton of maintenance, and then if it does break, it's not expensive. You're not taking it to a motor builder. It's 4 bolts and $299 for a cylinder and piston. You can put like 13 hours of race time on this thing, and you're probably going to be fine for another 13. It just, I don't know. I'm waiting for it to break. You gonna fire up the Cobra now?
I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we'll cut this video off short, but you did mention electric start, so it has a starter on board.
You want to hear it?
Let's see which one's better.
We're gonna have a sound off on the.
This hell of a sound off.
See, I have electric start. That Cobra appears to be a push start.
That's a push start. Because the starter weighs too much.
But they're both 4 cycles, so.
Well, Jason, thank you for your time today. Do you want to fire it up?
Yeah, sure.
Let's fire it up.
All right, let's do it.
So right before he fires it up, it's a Daytona 190cc, 4-stroke, 5-speed, 25 horsepower, and you could, right now, the target price to have one completely installed on a rolling shifter chassis, you're looking at approximately $2 grand.
Yep.
Let's fire her up.